Hello everyone and welcome to BIBC 5301 Biblical Counseling. My name is Brad Fairchild and I'll be your instructor for this course. I want to start with just doing a little bit of introductory kinds of things. I want to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about my professional life as well as my family life. First, I want to introduce you real quick to my family. This is me. This is my lovely wife. She and I have been married for 29 years. This is my oldest daughter, Anna, and she is married to Trevor. They've been married for like 9 months. This is the next one down, age-wise. This is Deborah Jo. She just turned 21. She's at Oklahoma Baptist University. This is Sarah Marie. She is a senior in high school. And this is Laura Beth, and she is a sophomore in high school. And this is my father who lives with us, and we call him Gramps. I married my high school sweetheart. Still in love. She's an amazing woman. I am a very blessed man to have her in my life. A teeny bit about me, just kind of professionally. Hold on just a second. There we go. There we go. No, we're still not there yet. Here we go. Uh-oh. It is not wanting to let me click on that. There we go. Alright. Let's see. I was born and raised in Dallas area. I live in Flower Mound right now, which is just 20 minutes north of South Lake of the King's University. I did my undergraduate work, part of it at Dallas Baptist University and part of it at Asbury College in Wilmore, Kentucky. I went from there into private practice, into working on getting my LPC. Been a licensed professional counselor, doing counseling for 4 years now. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. I've spent the past 7 years teaching, doing less and less counseling and more teaching people how to become counselors. I am currently back at Regent University working on my PhD in counselor education and supervision. That's a mouthful for teaching me how to be a professor, to teach people how to be a counselor, and to supervise counselors. A few things about this course that I just want to talk to you guys about. One is we're going to, and I don't even know that it's in the syllabus. This is a brand new thing for TKU. This is the first time this particular course has been taught at TKU, and so we are working on doing it's an interfacing program that we can see each other, talk, hear each other. Probably, I don't know this program exactly. I've used programs like this in some of my other teaching and at Regent University. But whoever's talking is the largest on the screen, and everybody else is either off the screen or small. So we can actually meet in class and interact together. So that's something that I look forward to. I think it's going to be a good thing. The challenge is scheduling, and I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with my class. I'm kind of thinking about offering 4 times and saying you have to be there 2, or offering 5 times and saying you have to be there 3. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I'm working that out, and we'll get there. I'm also thinking about the times. I'm thinking about like having an 8 o'clock in the morning and a 8 o'clock in the evening. So people schedule-wise can have a greater chance of making it to class. So that's what I'm thinking. Don't know exactly how that's going to turn out. I will communicate that via modifying the syllabus and or emailing you. So we'll get all that straight. I love teaching. I love people. I love counseling. I'm very relational. I'm very high self-disclosure, very open. I am what I am. Sometimes I'm an absolute disaster and mess, and God loves me anyway, and My wife does too, and she actually usually likes me as well, which is a whole different thing. But if you're married, you get that, right? Sometimes she loves me and likes me, and sometimes she just loves me and puts up with me. Um, I have a lot of fun in life. I have a very high value mine is people and relationships, and actually fun is also a high value of mine. So hopefully y'all will catch some of that, and that we will have fun with this course. I want to say something about the textbook. I did not personally pick out an 800 and whatever page behemoth, ginormous, biggest textbook I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, oh my gosh. I got that book in the mail and I was like, oh my. I mean, I knew it was 800 something pages long, but I was like, wow, this is huge. So don't go withdraw from the course when you see the book. If you haven't already gotten it, hopefully you have it by now. But read lots. But I will say that what I teach comes directly out of the book and a lot of my own speak and a lot of my own stuff. But I'm going to, I'm going to, when I make our tests, I'm going to stick pretty close to where my PowerPoints are. So, in other words, you should literally be able to open the book and pull up a PowerPoint and see the heading and go, oh, that heading is here, and boom, 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 right? So it's just very, very, very straightforward. I mean, and it's not word for word. I mean, I'm not just regurgitating it to you, but it's enough there that you can see. So you kind of get my personal style and flavor and attitude and opinion on things, and the author's attitude and opinion on things. And I think you'll really enjoy this textbook. This is the kind of thing that, if this was the only class you ever had in counseling, and you were going to go be a pastor, that if you held on to that book and referenced it frequently and looked through it, and it's the kind of thing you can pick and choose. You don't have to read the whole book cover to cover down the road, but it can be extremely powerful and helpful in your counseling process. Oh, and also I left out just chunks of it. In some of the chapters, I don't cover everything in the chapter. So again, if it's not covered in the chapter, and you know that because you're watching the PowerPoint in the chapter and you're lining those up. So if it's outside of that, then it just means it's not like, oh, he's going to hit me with something in the different part of the chapter. If I didn't cover it, then you're not responsible for it. So hopefully that's encouraging. All the tests are open book. Obviously, it's online, and they're open book, and they are essay. The tests are going to be essay. So I just want you to pour your heart out on your thoughts about what we're talking about. I also want to talk about, I am a counselor, and this is in many of you. I wish I knew my audience better. I don't know. Maybe y'all can, actually in your introductory, I'm going to have you talk about what your passion is. In your introductory discussion board, I'm going to have you talk about what your passion is, what it is that you see yourself doing, what it is that you want to do, what your passion is, what your calling is. Some of you are going to be pastors. Depending on the size of church that you end up working in and for, and what your specific role is going to depend on how much counseling you actually do. The book warns against this, and I certainly want to warn against this. If you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not a counselor, I'm a pastor, I'm not going to do counseling, I laugh at you. Sorry, but you are going to do a buttload of counseling. Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, you're going to be called in the midst of crisis when a mother has found her husband sexually abusing their 5-year-old, caught them in the act, and they're going to call you, and you're going to run over to their house. Bam, there you go. Crisis Intervention 101. You are going to see some things that will just make you want to throw up, and hear some things that are going to really, really be heavy and powerful and painful and difficult. And God has called you to walk these people through that. I don't care what your title is. I don't care if it's counselor, licensed professional counselor, coach, active Christian in your church who sits down with a brother or sister in Christ over a cup of coffee, this class can be extremely, extremely beneficial for all of you. So if you're a Christian and you love the Lord and you're called to minister to people, then this is what we're going to talk about. Now, if you're a pastor and you you look like a pastor, you talk like a pastor, you think like a pastor, guess what? That's because that's what you're supposed to be, and that's who you are, and that's what you are. I am a counselor, called by God, very clearly called by God to be a counselor. I look like a counselor, I talk like a counselor, I act like a counselor, I think like a counselor, I process problems like a counselor. So if there's a rub there, get over it, expand, be challenged. Some of the stuff I say you will not like and you will not understand, potentially. I relish that. I encourage you to be mature and be wise and to be able to say, okay, let me think about that. Let me chew on that. Let me process that. Let me make sure I understood him. Let me rewind it and re-listen to what he said, because I may not have understood him. Our glasses that we look through are colored. And so sometimes what I say and what you hear are two different things. If you were speaking and I was listening, what you say and what I hear are two different things, and that's fine. If something really, if you're like screaming heresy and pulling out your hair and wanting to cuss at the computer as you're listening to me talk, man, call me, talk to me, text me. Don't just let something bug you to death. I'm a pretty easygoing and pretty reasonable person. If you are at the King's University, our belief system is probably fairly similar, so it very well could be misunderstanding. I do attend Gateway Church, by the way. My wife and I and family attend Gateway Church, and my belief system is very, very in line with our pastor, Robert Morris. So those are just some kind of introductory thoughts. Really want to challenge you not to get behind. We're going to do two things. First, we're going to go over the syllabus. So let me pull that up, and we'll do that first, and then we'll get to chapters 1 through 3. All right. You are going to be very relieved to know that I am not going to read the syllabus to you. I'm pretty sure y'all are able to read yourselves, and I am excited about that. So here's your student learning outcomes and, of course, objectives. Some of you thought, oh, Lord, he's going to read all those to us. Nope. You are big boys and girls. You can read it yourself. Listen, Gary Collins, this book, as ginormous as it is, Gary Collins is an amazing man. When he was one of the influential people in my early counseling career, and even in grad school. I read his books in grad school. He was I believe he was the first president of the American Association of Christian Counselors. Some of you may have heard of the AACC. Really want to encourage you to join that. As a student, it's like $15, $20, $25 to join, which I know sometimes even that you're like, yeah, I know, I've been there. Like, oh, that's a lie, I know. Really want to encourage you to join if you can at all handle doing that. But Gary Collins was the president of the AACC, and or in its early years, if not the founding president. Did I say I was a charter member of the AACC? Oh, yes. That's so funny. I've got this little plaque. I'm like, wow, I was a charter member. That's crazy. So excellent book. This guy, amazing amount of wisdom. Heard him speak, met him, chatted with him. He was at Regent while I was there not too long ago, physically there. I do Regent online. And just a neat guy. So good, very good stuff. Want to encourage you to enjoy the book. Look at his stuff. Maybe even Google him for some of his speaking engagements and listen to him. I personally don't really care what translation you use. Use whatever translation you are most comfortable with. That's one of those things I look at and go, wow, okay. I mean, I'm okay with that, but I'm just not. I don't really care. Um, I This is the first time that this course has been taught at TKU. I've taught everything, all the information in here I've taught in other courses, but this specific course. It's the first time it's been taught at TKU. So somebody at TKU put this syllabus together like in a shell form and gave it to me, and then I am working on making it my own. So that'll be one of those things I changed, and I just didn't. I don't even know why, but let's see. Hold on. Okay, so this is like assignment number 1, and you will. There we go. Fix that. Sorry. 2 sections of the textbook that most interest you. Now I know people. I'm not a very detailed person, so you're going to be like, when you say sections, do you mean the little black headings and that there's every page or so inside the chapters, or do you mean chapters? I don't care. I mean, pick something in the textbook, a topic that the textbook addresses that is interesting to you. And there's a ton of topics. If there's not anything interested in you, you need to go do something else, like be an engineer or something. Accountant. My wife's an accountant, by the way. Let's see, you're going to research this using current articles. And I would say I really like 6, 7, 8 years. 10 is okay, but I don't want something from 1960 or 70 or 80. I'm looking for recent articles. I am not. I'm going to change that. It's not going to be 10 to 15. It's going to be the amount of articles on the subject are going to be like 2. How about that? How's that? You're like, ooh, we love you. And I'm not. We'll talk more about this even later, but I'm not that concerned about even. I'm not that concerned about page numbers. I'm going to say no more than 4 pages. So to me, length is not impressive. Oh, I have a 15-page paper. Yeah, how much of that is fat and fluff that we could cut out in 2 seconds? I don't like fluff. Don't want fluff. You want to flow, but I'm not asking for bullet points. I want a paper, but we're looking at we're talking about concise and no just blah 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 to fill in words. I want you to have some richness in there. Okay, next one, difficult client analysis. I'm just loving how I'm doing this, making changes on the fly. Don't you love that? I really did look at you're like, have you even seen this? Yes, I have. Let's see. You want to identify in some of this, some of you may not have enough experience to even know, and that's okay. Talk to some of your professors, talk to me for ideas, talk to a professional counselor. Just go to them, say, hey, I'm a student. You run some things by you, and ask them, say, what do you consider difficult clients? What is that like for you? Some you'll get things like personality disorders. Some people, it's difficult for them to deal with people with really intense, really high anxiety. Some people, it's difficult to deal with people who are severely depressed. Maybe it's tell you one I'm not real thrilled with is male abusers. People who beat their children and beat their wife physically. I'm just like, I have 4 girls, and some of that I think has to do with, if some guy abuses my daughters, it's just not, no. So I get kind of personal and kind of riled up about that. So that would be an example. And you may think, oh no, those guys are hurting, they need help. Yeah, they do, I know. But not from me, because I just don't do well with that. There aren't many issues, though, that I don't do well with. So it could be, people who are extremely passive and whiny and spineless. That may just drive you crazy. It may be people who are narcissistic. It may be GLBTQUII. Wow, we'll talk about that. Man, a friend of mine told me the other day, and it's in my PowerPoints too. We'll come across it in a minute. That there's like 50 different descriptions for self-identification, sexuality, on Facebook. And I'm sure a lot of that is redundant, just super redundant, just barely a change in some of the wording. But whatever happened to male and female, I'm not real sure where that went, but it is gone, guys, gone and getting goner. How's that for grammar? I know. Very interesting world we live in. So the object is that you are going to explore your own heart. What are my biases? What is this counseling relationship going to be like? And don't cop out on me and just say, oh, I'm going to meet with them one time and refer them. No. Well, let's just say you get stuck with somebody, you're working with them, and you don't really have a choice. I mean, we always have a choice, I know. But let's just for the example, for the sake of this, and this should be hard and painful. This should be difficult. I hope it's painful, because with pain comes growth. What is it that's threatening about them? What is it that's scary? What is it that's unpredictable? What is it that bugs you? I don't know. You're the only one that can know. So it's really kind of cool about it. All right, next one. Okay, there will be a discussion board every week, and you will the first one's just going to be like an introductory, but some specific things. Don't just blow me off. It's like I still want you to dig deep. Actually, it's going to be quite deep. And this is the format. This is the way it works. And so, guys, we're cramming a 15-week course into 7 weeks, and there's actually been research on that, because my initial on that was like, you got to be crazy, kidding me, no way. That's like, But the research shows that learning and learning retention is as good or maybe even better on a 7-week course, and I don't really even know why that is. My personal guess as to why that is because you engulf yourself in it for 7 weeks. So if life is busy and crazy for you, and remember, I'm a student at Regent University, I get it. There are times I'm like, dude, what am I doing between 11 o'clock at night and 3 in the morning? I guess not sleeping. Guess I'm working. I have literally pulled all-nighters, and will again in my PhD program. So I am very compassionate, I am very reasonable, and I am very fair. But you are adults, and I have high expectations of you that you will, and some of you may be older than me, and that's fine, but I have, there is a sense of you bit this off and you need to chew, and you chose to do this. You need to set boundaries with your family, which is extremely difficult for me. I get that. My daughter's, Daddy, I need help with homework. All right, cool. I'm just staying up another hour later. And I do. And that's a sacrifice I choose to make. But I stay up and finish it. So I do understand that there's, my parents both died in a plane crash, and I'm a disaster, and this happened yesterday. Okay, well, if it's early in the course, you need to withdraw and do life and take care of your family and move on. I'm not at all. I'm not at all. I mean, that's serious stuff. I understand that things happen, but also communicate with me. Your absolute best way to communicate with me is text me, especially during the summer. People email me and they're like, "He's slow getting back," and I'm like, "Are you kidding? I was in Canada. We are going to Canada, literally. I mean, I was in Montana. We're doing that too. Where? Okay, I was, a little busy with my family. Do it. Text me. If you call me, you can call me. But if you call me, I'm not going to answer your phone because I don't recognize the number, and because it's summer, and I may not even listen to the message. I may just delete it. I'm just so text me. Text. If you can't text or don't text, email me. But really, text me is the best way. And I'll try to stay on top of my emails as much as possible. But just understand that I'm all over the place. And yes, I can get my emails from anywhere in the world. I do understand that. We have the technology. I got that. What you don't understand is when I'm on vacation and engulfed with my family, I spend very little time with this. I'll meet deadlines and that's about it. But hard deadlines, but that's about it. Okay, so you are the format every week is your initial post is due on Wednesday. So the way I do my courses and the way TKU has told me they want it to be done is that you will have your course Monday morning at 8 a.m. up and running, ready to go. I've had people say, yeah, but my other professors give them the whole semester. It's just there and I can work ahead. Well, that's not what they're supposed to do. So sorry. And this is a new course, so I'm building it as I go. So I need the time each week to kind of work on that. Anybody have Fuzzies tacos? It's incredible. If you haven't ever tried it, you should try it if you have one in your area. I know that many of you are in this area, but being that it's an online course, we could have people in anywhere in the world. Okay, so let's see. So you're going to take the discussion board question. You're going to do the research necessary. Most of the times there's going to be a requirement of at least one, if not two, journal articles to be posted along with your opinions. So you're not just saying, well, I think counselors should, blah, 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 instead of whatever. Not without backing that with research. You don't say that kind of thing. Not in my hearing. So you do that by Wednesday. And when I say, oh my gosh, hi, there's I'm sorry. It's night. It's dark outside, and I'm sitting here in my wife's office, and the glass window's to the left, and a cat just showed up in the window. I'm like, outside, not our cat. I'm like, oh, kind of freaky. So it caught my attention. Sorry about that. Everything that is due for me, if there's a day, if you ever see a day, then that means midnight. 11:59 p.m. is how they put it in Blackboard. That's fairly standard for people who teach Blackboard, but I've had professors change it. No, 8 o'clock it's due, and noon it's due, and I'm like, what the heck? Just make it 11:59 p.m. That's really the easiest thing to do. Anyway, so then you're going to respond to each other. You're going to respond to two, and then you need to respond to the response. So I write it, my initial one, I put it out there on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I go through them and I pick out two and I respond to them. Then I go back and I look at mine and see who responded to mine. Those don't count as my two peer responses, two peer posts responses. I'm just, I know, how do you say all that in writing? I know, but I want you to respond. If someone says, hey, Brad, that was a great post, or this or that or the other, or what did you mean by, talk more about Jesus and counseling and Jesus as a counselor, and what do you see as Jesus' primary characteristics of counseling? Okay, you're asking me a question. That's good. That's always a good thing. You're connecting with me. Well, I need to answer you. This is all I'm saying. Separate from that, I have already picked out 2 of you, my peers, and responded to your post. I want your responses to be, I want depth, and I always want respect and professionalism and kindness. If I see someone like, oh, that's ridiculous, or what were you thinking when you said such and such? Oh, dude, you talk about a 0 on all of that whole discussion board assignment. Just boom, done, 0, done with you instantly. No compassion, none. No, like, oh, but yeah, no. There's no place for rude. You might strongly disagree. You might think it's so bad they're going to hell. All the more reason to be super kind to them. So you say things like, okay, so when you said such and such, can you explain to me a little more about that? Translation, I disagree with you, or I don't like it. Or, I don't know the translation, right? Because you're writing. Maybe it's just, oh, they're really interested in this. They want to know more. Not, hey, when you said this, you sound like a heretic and a fool and an idiot and like you're hellbound. What did you mean by that? No. Just talk. I want depth, and I want connection, but I don't want craziness. I don't want name calling and heated, and I get it. You believe what you believe and you're passionate about it. Good. But don't be disrespectful to anybody ever. And all of that's done by Sunday, midnight, 11:59 p.m. I'm sorry, and except for, Sunday night, except for the days, except for the time when you have an exam, because the exam is due, I want you to think of each week as a block, a unit, right? So you got, boom, that whole, everything that you look at on Monday morning, that's that week, whatever that ends with, whatever days it says it's due, and so in the syllabus, and I'll show you in a little bit, then it'll be a little more clear to you. Okay, so on the weeks that you have exam, which is only a midterm and a final, then your exam is going to be Sunday night, midnight. Your discussion post that week is going to be Saturday. Now, I kind of thought about that, and I thought that might be a little confusing, and then I just decided, no, we're going with it. That's how we're going to do it. So there you go. Okay. There's your exams over the reading material and over the textbook. Over the reading material and over the stuff that we talk about in class. And then your final exam, same thing. Sorry. You must put your assignments in Word.doc or Word.docx format. Do not send me a PDF or a Mac document of any kind, because my computer will not open it, cannot open it. Maybe if I was a little more tech savvy, and I'm not bad for an old man when it comes to tech, I'm pretty good. But when I hit to open it and it sends me somewhere else, you're done. I'm just like, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for that. I'm Xing out of that one and putting a 0 and going to the next one, sending you a note that says, go back to the syllabus. Notice that I said, right? So, and it's convertible. If you don't know how to convert it, oh, but I'm not tech savvy and I have a Mac and I don't know how to convert it. Dude, Google on YouTube or on, Google or YouTube. There you go. Woo. How to do that, and it will tell you step by step, or ask somebody who is tech savvy. So that's that of that. Here are we're doing a point system, and so 900 points will be a 90, right? 800 points will be an 80, and so forth. So there are your points for all of your assignments. What I do want you to notice is that, and this has to do with maybe a new word for some of you, my teaching pedagogy, which is basically my philosophy of teaching. what I believe about teaching, and that is that your experiential stuff, these first three, are way more important than an exam where you just simply barf up information on a piece of paper. Although the way I design my exams, it's a pretty experiential learning activity because you're asked to think and not just barf up an answer. And so you're in the process of doing the essay question. You're looking through the material and you're thinking about it, and you're either making application or interpretation or responding to it in some kind of way. Okay, this is the page that you need to print and tape on your wall wherever you study most. Print 2 or 3 or 4 of them. You can print the whole thing if you want, but if you just print this one page right here, you are going to be good. This is your world. This is your world. Let me emphasize that a lot. So as you can see, we have the dates laid out. We have your dates as to specifically when. That's going to be, that 18th is going to be Wednesday, that 22nd is going to be Sunday night. You see that here. All right. So here's your reading. You're needing to hold on, I'm going to make some changes on this. Okay. So, and I also want you to view the lecture and or attend the class, and I have not decided on the dates and times of the class. I will modify that. Still working on that, so y'all bear with me. So y'all got some reading to do, but listen, I'm telling you, if you're one of those that says, oh, I'm just not going to listen to the lectures at all, and I'm just going to read the book, man, that's going to double time your work. So if you're following the PowerPoint and listen to the lecture, and there's going to be things on the PowerPoint, there's stuff on there that's just mine. So if you've not seen the PowerPoint and you start writing, you're going to sound like an idiot, because you're going to be like, it's going to sound like it, you're going to think it makes sense to you. You go, oh yeah, I know what that is. No, no, you don't. And I look for things from my lecture, from the book, as I'm looking for your reading. So it's going to affect your grade. Just know that. All right. So the week 2, again, discussion board every week. DBS discussion board every week. Wednesday, Sunday, come down here. Here's your midterm. So on this day, your discussion response post is due June 4th on Saturday, so that you have time to focus on your midterm on Sunday. Then your difficult client analysis week 4 is due. And again, discussion boards that week, and then your another discussion board. That's all you get for that week is reading and lecture. View the lecture, and that's every week too. View the lecture and or come to class, whatever we do. No, I will always have a lecture every week. Sorry. And I hope our equipment is savvy enough to be able to record the lecture. So that would be bad if not. Then your content exploration is due on week 6, and then the very next week is your final. You're done. So literally, you just have those 2 assignments, 2 finals, and keep up with your lectures and your classes. 10 points a day for late assignments if you have a real emergency. And again, I'm really busy and I'm really tired, and yeah, me too. So sorry about you. I hope y'all can learn to take me with a grain of salt. But I just talk to me. I mean, sometimes people are just extremely overwhelmed and just really hit a brick wall and not doing well. But if I don't hear from you, then I'm counting 10 points a day, and at some point that assignment's a 0 or whatever it is. But if you're telling me what's going on in your life, and then I will work with you on that. All right? And it may be that, all right, I'll tell you what, I should take 50 off, but instead I'm going to take 20, because I'm trying to work with you at least a little bit. Some of it is just, it's just natural life consequences of choices we make, and that's okay. I mean, there's been times I've been like, you know what, I'm going to choose this over this, and this is going to cost me, and I'm okay with that. So just be okay with that. Understand you are making choices, even if they are not conscious choices, so to speak. And I'm not, listen, if it's there when I wake up the next morning, if you're turn it in, it is not, I get the time difference things, right? So it's midnight here. If you're somewhere else, it might be midnight for me and 2 o'clock in the morning for you. That's fine. I mean, I'm not, if it's midnight the next night, then I'm like, okay, that you're late. But if it's a couple hours late, I'm not sweating it. I'm asleep anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. Let's see. Attendance policy. Again, you guys can read that. Academic integrity. When it's open book, when everything's open book, then I'm not sure really how you cheat. The big thing would be plagiarism. Plagiarism is so easy to find and so easy to track. So just don't go there. It's real simple. If you're not sure, I mean, sometimes people are like, I don't even know. Well, literally, just when you're when you're writing something down word for word from something, you're plagiarizing, period. End of discussion. Don't do it. Two words in a row, common phrases, common words, of course, those are fine. But when it's someone's idea and you're just writing it down, no. You gotta look at it, you gotta reword it, you gotta think about it, and you still have to give them credit and you have to do your citations. Okay. That's it, guys. For that, you got a lot more to do. I just disappeared. Literally, my camera just disappeared. Alright, my big whopping 2-minute refreshing break. I am ready to go. Okay, guys, I am super excited about this course and about the material in this course, and I'm going to have fun. You guys can have fun or not, and I can't tell because I can't see you. But we are going to have a good time. So here we go. You are I realize when I'm talking to, and again, this is one of the challenges of not being able to actually just see who my audience is, look you in the eye, but we'll get to that opportunity soon. Some of you have worked with some pretty difficult situations, and you know what it is like to work with really, really, really hurting people. If you don't have a lot of experience over the years, you will realize, wow, this is crazy, tough, challenging, painful, rewarding, beautiful, ugly, ashes and oil and sweet perfume and stench, all sometimes almost at the same time, it seems like. So do you know you're called to do this? Whatever this is, and I recognize that I'm talking to youth pastors, music pastors, counselors, and I realize this is a mixed group, probably largely more in the pastoral realm. So also, I'll say this again, and just in terms of terminology, you may be saying to yourself, but I'm not going to be a counselor, I'm going to be a pastor, to which I just smile and nod and say, and therefore you're going to be doing a ton of counseling. So just understand, pastoral student, that with the highest respect and the highest regard and fear and trembling, and thank God it's you and not me, which recognizing you're saying the same thing to me, right? That's why I know exactly what I was called to do, and I want you to do that too. So don't get all hung up on terminology and what I'm saying, and he sounds like he's talking to a bunch of counselors, and we're not counselors, we're pastors. Good, but you're going to be doing counseling, so I'll try to modify my speech to some degree to be accommodating, but excuse me, just go with me and understand I'm talking about people who help people, and that's you. I'm pretty sure, or you wouldn't be in this class at all. We're going to talk a lot about change, elements of change, aspects of change in you, in me, in life, in our society, and in counseling in general. One of the aspects of change, when change is problematic, there's usually a sense of I didn't have much control over that change. Somebody else made a decision and gave me a pink slip, and I went walking. I had no say, no control, no nothing. I was 2x4'd upside the head. I didn't even see it coming. It just, wow. Those are the kinds of changes that are the most traumatic. But then there's the gradual, my house is falling apart, my neighborhood is declining, my health is, I'm getting older, I'm, whatever, changes in relationships, for the positive or for the negative. Change is an interesting thing. Some change we admit, we invite and we love and we seek and we pursue and we want, and sometimes still resist. Some change we fight against tooth and nail, and it's something that God's trying to get us to change, and we just fight it because we are sinful human nature. But either way, you are an agent of change and will be. Research done by Pahlavi and Herman, they came up with this phrase, false hope syndrome, and it's very commonsensical, if you will, but so when we have unrealistic expectations, so I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 6 months, it's going to be easy, rah, here we go, yeah, unrealistic expectations. And someone might be listening to me and saying, but I've done that before. Okay, that's good. I mean, I didn't say it was impossible, but for most people, that's unrealistic. Whatever it might be. It could be all kinds of different things. Their initial stage of commitment and feelings of control, I got this, I'm doing this, I'm working my plan. Day 2, whoo, look at me eat, look at me exercise. Look at me eat healthy, look at me exercise. Some success early on, and that success, the reward of the success goes away, doesn't feel as rewarding, or the success stops or slows. And then we begin to get resistant and say, well, I don't know about this, and rah. And then there's failure, and we abandon everything. We quit doing what it is we're trying to do. And then we find a reason for the failure. Well, it's because I was tempted. It was because I'm stealing this from the textbook, but it talks about, well, I got this birthday party and they're going to have all this cake, and so I'll just wait till after that. No, and there's a wedding at the end of this month too, and I think I'll just wait till after that. So it's those things' fault and not my fault. Or it can be my fault in an unhealthy, beating up on myself kind of a way, which can be problematic as well. Okay, hold on. Gotta get me back up. Okay, guys, about halfway there. We're not doing much on chapter 3. So, we're looking at the counselor and what do counselors do and what are counselors about. Counselors don't give advice. That may be a surprise to some of you. Maybe the first time some of you have heard it. Oof, that's a scary thought. But I really want you to remove it from your vocabulary. In fact, if I see it in writing in any of your stuff, I will comment on it and take off some for that being there. We don't give advice at all. It's just you don't do it. It's not healthy. It's not good. We'll get back into why coming up in a little bit. In fact, next page. So I do this thing, be there versus fix it mode, where you have be there, fix it, and join. Our default tends to be to get into fix it mode. Somebody comes to you and brings you a problem. The automatic assumption is they want me to help them solve the problem. They want me to Tell them what they should do. Tell them what they should do? You mean like control them, like tell them what to do? Like you're superior and they're lesser, you're wise and they're idiots, and you're going to tell them what to do? Like, no. No, I don't care who they are. No. Oh, but I'm 15 years older than them. I'm 30 years older than them. I don't care. Like, no, you don't own them. No, 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 no. So when you get into fix-it mode, it's also very, very narcissistic, because you're implying, when you're in fix-it mode, you are implying, I am wise and knowledgeable, and I give good advice. Wow, you arrogant jerk. Seriously? You're also putting, you're greater than them. I'm better than them. I have this and they don't. Look, I'm fine. They're in crisis. I'm not. Okay, you will be tomorrow, and you were yesterday. Like, there's two kinds of people. People going into a crisis and people coming out of a crisis and fixing to go right back into one. So it produces anxiety. People that give advice hope that it was good advice and that the person will do the advice and they'll do the advice right so that it works. And they'll come back with a good report, and there's anxiety in that. People receiving the advice are like, oh no, they've given me this advice, what if I don't want to do what it is they want me to do? Then they're going to be mad at me or upset with me. What if I do it and it fails? Then they're going to think I screwed it up. Bad deal. There's just no good in this fix-it mode stuff. When we're in this mode and in this attitude, we become very condescending and judgmental. And let me tell you something that makes God angry. Ooh, and me too, by the way. You look at how Jesus talked to the Pharisees. Why? Because they were condescending and judgmental, arrogant, with a spirit of religiosity, pharisaical, controlling, evil. That's all pure evil. That is not Christ at all. When I see a Christian talking condescending, well, it's just kind of my tone of voice, it's just kind of how I talk. Well, then shut up, and then just don't talk, because it's not acceptable. And it's very, very damaging to the kingdom of God, more so than Satan himself. It is very damaging. Okay, that's a little drama queen. Sorry. But it's very damaging to the kingdom of God. You're not helping anybody, you're not doing anybody good. If when you're talking to people, you're getting feedback that you come across condescending and judgmental, then you need to work on that. You need to figure out what that's about. Ask God to help you. Ask a friend to help you. You gotta work on that. That's a huge, 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 huge issue. Fix-it mode is advice giving, which we don't do, which we've already eliminated from our vocabulary. Very good. Your value is placed on your ability to fix their problem. It is self-serving. It's prideful. It's stroking your own ego. It's just not good. People really believe, well, that's what people want. No. People want to be heard. People want to be understood. People want to know that you are there for them. This whole concept of being there, like, so many people don't even know how to be there for people in a way that I'm talking about. It's even hard to define. Certainly beyond the scope of this class, and we can talk more about it, but fix-it mode is very task-oriented instead of human, people, and or relationship-oriented. And remember, God created that. He's a relational God. It is very non-relational, fix-it mode. We could go on and brainstorm and come up with 10 or 15 more things, but we're going to stop there. Definitely, this is definitely not an all-inclusive list. All right, be there mode. You are going to listen. You're going to reflectively listen. You're going to, yeah, I hear you. You're going to be there. You're going to be deeply present with them. You're going to listen to understand, not to correct, teach, or discipline, and not to think about what you're going to say in response. Yeah, but I need to know what to say. No, you don't, because you can just be silent. I'll do one quick little prompt. If you listen to them, you know what they said. You just go back to something that they said. Ask them to tell you more about it. ask. You have to, genuinely care. You can't fake that one. You either do or you don't. You have to ask yourself, can you genuinely care? And then use your solar skills. Face the person squarely, open posture, lean forward, eye contact, and relax in the midst of it all. Okay, so then people say, well, if all I do is just say, oh, yeah, I hear you all the time, then how are we ever disciplining our children? How are we ever coming up with solutions? How are we ever helping people? Agreed. When in doubt, and when the conversation starts, whether it's an ongoing topic, ongoing conversation, ongoing relationship, or a brand new one, force yourself to go into be there mode. Hone your listening skills and learn to listen to them and listen to them for a long time. Maybe to the close of that conversation and walk away. Yeah, but I had all this stuff to tell them. You had advice to give them. You had a desire to put them in a position where you were greater than they were, and you have advice, oh wise one, and you want to tell this poor suffering soul, yeah, it's my friend. Okay, take that one to the Holy Spirit. Take that up with God. Maybe not you. If you're really upset right now when you hear that, you're so guilty. I love it. The more upset you are, the more right I am. That's always the case. And yes, that barrel gets pointed at me all the time, and it's true. I say it to myself now. I'm like, oh, crap. I got so mad at her. She must be right. Yes, I'm talking about my wife. So what do we do then? After we listen, after being there, we join. We join with them. We listen. We believe in their ability to solve their own problem. Yeah, but you don't understand how big of an idiot this person is. You don't understand how big of an idiot you sound like right now if you're saying that. Like, yeah, no. That's you believe in their ability to solve their problem. You encourage them. You say things like, okay, well, let's talk about this. Let's work on this. Let's brainstorm together. What are all the possibilities? You may have to prime the pump on throwing out some possibilities, but a lot of times they'll come up with multiple possibilities. You can give little prompts and modify some of those possibilities, add to them, but write them down. If you're working with somebody, have them write them down. But you're brainstorming together, and you're hoping that it's 90%, 10%, or 99%, 1%, that they're getting most of the words that you're writing down and not you. Remember, these people they've thought about this. This is a problem in their life. It's not like problems happen in a vacuum, and they never thought about a solution until they came to you. So ask them, what have you done? What have you thought about doing? What have you tried? Usually there's something, right? So ask them for that. They'll give it to you, usually. Learn how to be present. Learn how to be very present. Listening skills. It goes back to the solar skills. Be attentive. You can teach some. You don't want to. That's all you do. But you can do some teaching. Go to a board. Go to a napkin. Lay some concepts out for them to chew on. That's great. Oh, and by the way, did I say listen to them? Lots. Shut up and listen. I'm thinking about doing a parenting teens retreat, and I'm going to title it, or speaking engagement, like seminar. I'm going to title it, Shut Up and Listen. I love that. I don't know if I'm ever going to do that, but it is one of my dreams, I guess you'd say, to do that. All right, so you're wondering, what are the qualities of an effective counselor? I'm glad you asked. I would say this would be true for an effective pastor as well. Psychological health. Nobody's perfect, but are you halfway healthy? Do you know you're unhealthy if you're unhealthy? Do you know your unhealthiness or your unhealthy tendencies? Are you open to knowing? Do you want to know? That's a big part of that one. Do you really love people? Do you have an interest in people? Do you like people? And if you really don't, they're like, I don't even really like people that much. What are you doing? Like, you're going to be a pastor? You're going to be a youth pastor? You're going to be a counselor? And you don't really like people very much? No. Go Go be an engineer. Go be an accountant. Wrong field. Empathy. To feel with. I like that. To get in their shoes. So it's not sympathy. Oh, you poor baby. It's going to be so rough for you. I'm so sorry. No, that's sympathy. Empathy is, wow, dude, I feel your pain. I feel it with you. I see the tears and I cry them with you. I'm not encouraging you to cry with your clients all the time, but or your people, but there will be times you will, most likely. But I feel your pain. How warm are you? Are you personally warm? Well, I'm just not a very warm, naturally warm person. Then why are you going to be a pastor? Why are you going to be a counselor? What are you thinking? Like, if you probably have some gifts and talents and abilities in another realm, you could be doing something else. So, how personally warm are you? Can you change that? Yeah, you can. I know we just started the whole thing off with you can change. I think there's some things that this is the way God made me. It's a personality thing. There may be a personality flaw aspect of that, but some stuff you're pretty much, it's going to be very minimal change over a long period of time. Self-awareness. How self-aware are you? One of the questions to ask is how good are you at receiving feedback? One very powerful and very painful exercise is to go to someone close to you and say, I need some feedback. I need to grow in self-awareness. Do you think I've been very self-aware? And they're going to give you some feedback. You can tell them, am I rude? Am I short? Too much of the time. Now take it with a grain of salt, but if you're willing, are you willing to hear people's feedback, then you're probably fairly self-aware. If not, you're probably not. Well, how can I know, if you're not self-aware, how can I know that I'm not self-aware if there's stuff there that I don't know is there? It's kind of a, if the tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? One of those kind of deals. But a little more logical, if you think about it, if you're, I'm very self-aware, and the people around you are looking at you going, wow, dude, you are clueless. You have no idea what a jerk you're being to everybody around you. I'm not a jerk. I'm very self-aware. Okay. Very, very, there's your most non-self-aware person right there. What are your values? What do you believe? What's important to you? Do you know? I'm not just talking about, I love Jesus and Jesus died on the cross and this. No, I ain't talking about that. When it comes to task or people, which do you choose? That tells you your value. That's a value. Will you drop anything for a person? Or does the person need to wait because you're in the middle of a task? Wait till I finish my task and I'll get with you, baby. All right, let me know how that works out for you in 10, 15, 20 years relationally, because, again, that's part of the way God made you, and that's part of a personality issue, but to an extreme, it can be very unhealthy. How tolerant tolerance of ambiguity. In other words, you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to walk through that door. Even if you know the client, you don't know what's going to walk through that door. How comfortable are you with that uncertainty? Obviously, you are unique. Remember your uniqueness. Celebrate your uniqueness. Utilize it to your advantage. Know your assumptions, what they are. About people in life, I tell people this is your theory. You're a theorist and you don't even know it. Do you initially go to, oh, well, it's because they're had a rough childhood? Well, that's most of their problem. Okay, well, there you go. There's your theoretical position, by the way. That's called psychodynamic, modern psychodynamics, neo-Freudian. You may say, oh, it's a spiritual problem. Okay, that's a theoretical position as well. Theoretical position. You may say, well, it's emotional. It's their thoughts. They're just really all jacked up in their thinking, and it gets them down. And okay, that's cognitive behavioral therapy would be your natural theory, so to speak. Understand because you are a Christian, understand your values and the uniqueness that that brings to the table. Your goals are going to be very, we do not live in a values vacuum. They want us to be. We're not. They don't have either. They, the politically correct pushers, want us to be value-free, and we're not. It's not possible. So what are your values? And as a Christian, what do you bring to the table that's going to be different? There's a million methods, and you know, one person may use one method 1 minute and then a different one the next, and the same one the third time with a different person, and it's the wrong method with the wrong person at the wrong time. So timing and person and what's going on have a lot to do with the use of methods and techniques. And remember that you are gifted and talented, and that it's very unique to you, and God put that in you. Here's some common mistakes. Just visiting with people, just chatting. Hey, how was your day? Oh yeah, how's Aunt Susan? How's she doing? Yeah, great. Just friendly chat. Like, no. You need to at some point turn the conversation to something a little more serious. Or you do a little bit of that, and especially at the initial part of the session, but you can't get too crazy with that. Problem solving too early, you don't do that. Counselor interrogates, boy, it's easy to get in that mode of just asking questions. You got all this information you need to know. So you have to avoid that. Don't want to come across as disrespectful or judgmental. You don't need to rescue. You feel like you need to rescue, but you don't. So you fight that thought, that feeling. Need for information, especially if it's sexual or something super private or personal or relational that they don't want, somewhere they don't want to take you. That becomes your need. Whose need are you meeting? Then it can become dangerous, especially if it's something sexual. Need for affirmation and acceptance. We all need that, but if it's not balanced and kept in check when with our clients, we don't need to get it from our clients. It's hugely problematic. And then need for personal healing. That's a bad reason to be in counseling at all. All right, what are some of the possible vulnerabilities for the counselor? Again, pastor, whoever you are, people helping person. Are you easily manipulated? Man, don't be, because people will try to manipulate you. You just smile and say, no, that kind of feels like manipulation. I'm good. I think I'll pass. And if they send another round at it, say, still feels like manipulation. I think I'll pass. What's the worst they're going to do? Cuss you out, scream, yell, knock a bookshelf over, or walk out your office. At which point they start knocking bookshelves over and dial 911 and defend yourself if you have to. Get out of there. First, get out of there if you can, but do not be manipulated. It's that huge, because they will own you emotionally and maybe have you doing all kind of things for them, staying late after sessions, talking with them. Oh my gosh, it's like, no. They'll find out you show up at the church at 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready for your 9 or 10 o'clock service, and they'll be there. Hey, how's it going? I need to talk. I thought you might be here a little early. And you're like, oh, no. And there goes your final prep work. So just don't let it happen. Countertransference. You're putting some kind of a feeling. They are reminding you of somebody in your life, an ex-girlfriend, an ex-boyfriend, a mother, a father. It can be positive or negative. You can become overly excited about somebody because you really like them, because they remind you of your best childhood friend, and that's not healthy. You got to balance that, because it will taint your judgment with them. Man, learn how to deal with resistance. Resistance is fun. Means you're getting somewhere. Talk to them about resistance openly. Most people have seen the movie Shrek, the original. Donkey and Shrek were sitting out on the ledge. They had Fiona was hidden and already turned into an ogre, but they didn't know that yet. They were on their way back from rescuing Fiona, and they're laying there talking, sitting there on the, looking at the stars and chit-chatting. And Donkey starts poking Shrek about, why are you always hiding? Why you got such a wall up? What you got to hide? And he got him to the point. He kept poking and jabbing, and Shrek kind of went off. He kind of lost it. Went off on him. Donkey smiles and says, "Oh, now we're getting somewhere." I'm like, "Oh, I love it." Listen, when they're getting rattled, you can stop and smile and say, "We're getting somewhere, aren't we? Like, we're getting close to some heated stuff, some serious stuff for you, I think." So that takes it away from you and back on them. It's really not about you most of the time. I mean, if you're just being a jerk to them, it might be about you, but most of the time it's not about you. But talk about it. So, I don't know what I'm feeling. I almost think I feel resistance, like you're just pushed back, like you don't want to. I mean, we don't have to do this. You don't have to come. You don't have to change anything. I can't change you. Only you can change you. With God's help, as Christian. Just talk to him about it and just smile. It's like, it's okay. Say, hey, listen. Here's a fun little self-disclosure. Hey, listen. When I come to something hard in my life that I see that I need to deal with, my first response is resistance. I think everybody's is. And if you don't see that, I would question your self-awareness. There's that tendency to resist. And we feel like somehow, I think we've been taught somewhere that that's not very spiritual, or like, oh, that's not very Christian of you. God created us that way. Process it, think about it, resist, slow it down, so you can look at it and weigh it and evaluate it. And it's not all bad. If you're just resistant all the time and never making any changes, then yeah, that's a problem. But for the most part, resistance is normal and okay. I hope that you don't think that you will never have any feelings of sexual attraction towards someone. I don't know. I just don't know how you get through life and never experience that, especially with the intimacy of counseling, the emotional, verbal intimacy of counseling. It's going to happen. So acknowledge it, admit it, know it, be wise about it, and never act in the slightest way. Listen, I don't want ever for a woman to think I am just looking at her like that. And I'm not talking about looking at her body. Although I don't want that either. But the eye to eye, when you look at someone and you see someone and you like them and they like you, and you look at each other's eyes, and it's just that look. You just know, and they know, and you do not ever, oh my gosh, that's the end of the world. If the world stops turning on its axis right then, just don't let it happen. Period. I don't care how tempted you are. That's a pretty good reason to refer a client to somebody else if you can't get that under control. We're almost done, guys. Hang in there. Good thing about this is y'all can pause me and come back. Burnout. You're going to experience fatigue, devaluing of self and others, loss of joy, depression, anger, anxiety, devaluing of your organization. It's just horrible all the way around it. You'll have poor boundaries. Sometimes what'll happen is you'll have poor boundaries and then you'll flip-flop and put up walls, and your boundaries are too severe. We'll talk more about burnout as we go through the process. Jesus. Man, he's such a great counselor. Don't make the mistake of picking out, a couple of examples of him dealing with people. Oh, he was harsh. So I'm harsh. Really? Seriously? Who around you is stupid enough to believe that argument and hold it up? Translation of that is, I don't want to have to deal with my harshness, so I'm going to justify it because I can think of a couple of examples where Jesus was harsh. Okay. Yeah, that's just a bad deal all the way around. You gotta look at the whole picture. He used many different. He was powerfully gentle, insanely gentle with people. Frequently, he was insanely, powerfully harsh with people. He argued. He discussed. He got into the head of people. Heady himself. He was intellectual and brainy. Very thought kind of stuff, cognition kind of stuff. He got very feeling kind of stuff going on. Mary and Martha and their brother died, Lazarus, and so just be careful. Understand his powerful example. But I wrote these 3 examples down here because the first one, it shows failure. Jesus is not a failure, but he failed to convert the rich young ruler right there on the spot. Maybe he wasn't even trying to convert him. Maybe he was trying to obey the Father and speak truth and stop there. See, I think we're trying to convert people, fix people, trying to get people to fill in the blank, accept Christ, be more involved in their church, blah, 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 whatever it might be. All those things are important. Accepting Christ is vital, but it's their choice. You know what Jesus did when the rich young ruler walked away? He says he turned and continued to teach his disciples. I'm like, wow, dude, really? Yep, that's it. How would you have done? Grabbed the guy by the shoulder, grabbed him by the elbow, chased him down, started walking beside him and said, whoa, dude, you don't understand what you're walking away from here, man. This is heaven or hell. This is life and death. Nope, he didn't do any of that. Could have, but he didn't. He was modeling for us. Let it go. That'll keep you from burnout. That's your burnout right there. That's it. Bottom line. Whose business? What are you doing? Are you doing your Father's business? Are you saying what the Father tells you to say? Or are you trying to fix somebody? That's challenging. Very challenging. Yep, he flipped over the tables in the money chambers. I love it that it says that Jesus sat in the square and fashioned a rope. That takes a little minute. That's not like he picked up something, right? This was thought out. The man sat there and fashioned, built it, made it, put it together. He even knew how. That's kind of cool, I think. Of course, he was a carpenter, so I'm sure they do all kinds of stuff. But the man, I was like, wow, he made that thing. Thought about this and made it. Thought about what he was going to do with it the whole time he was making it, looking around. I'm going to kick that boy's butt right there. Look at his attitude when he's taking that money from that poor woman. I got him. Just give me a minute. I'm putting this thing together. I'm serious. That sounds so worldly and earthly, but I don't get it. I don't understand it theologically. But there you go. It's in the Bible. It's what he did. It was a smidgen of an example of God's judgment and God's wrath, which is a very real part of life. Okay, and then there was a woman caught in adultery. And that story. That story gets to me. It makes me teary-eyed. Here is a woman who was ashamed, embarrassed, caught, hurt. What was being done to her was unjust by the Pharisees. Where was the man? In other words, double standard. This was wrong in so many ways. And Jesus protected her. He saved her life. He stood up for her. He fought for her. He took up for her. He loved her. He was gentle. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't say, here's a condom, honey. Make sure you're careful when you have sex. I know you have needs. Just be careful. No. That's what we're doing to our kids nowadays. We, the society, not you and me. No, he didn't say that. He said, where are your accusers? And she said, there are none, Lord. And he said, that's right, there are none. Meaning, he was not accusing her either. She did not feel condemned. She did not feel judged. He was not condemning or judgmental. But he still spoke the truth. He said, go and sin no more. Change. Stop your behavior. Man, I want to be Jesus when I'm talking to people. I want to be that. I want to be that person that can challenge someone to change something in their life and then walk away and know that I love them, that I am on their side, that I will go to bat for them. I defend them. I value them. I cherish them. I respect them. And yet, I'm calling them to change. And yes, those two things can be both done at the same time. Jesus did it all the time. I've already touched on this, but if you think if you're going to be a pastor and you think you're not going to do counseling, again, I laugh at you. It's not a matter of are you going to do counseling? It's a matter of how much are you going to do, and it's a matter of is it going to be quality, done well, done right, skilled, disciplined, or is it going to be undisciplined, unskilled, pathetic? That's the choice you're making, not whether you're going to do counseling as a pastor or not. Yes, I know there are a few pastors who say, I meet with a person one time, pray with them, encourage them, and give them the counselor's card or send them down to the hall to the counselor. I get that. I know that happens. You're still in there with them for one time. You're still working with somebody. So, grasp it. Deal with it. I have had pastors, I can't tell you how many pastors I've had say, I wish I had more counselor training. I do so much counseling. That's all I do is counseling. We had a guy over, we had some friends over 2 weekends ago, and he said, we were just chatting. He goes, yeah, my father's a pastor. And he said, he told me, he said, son, okay, you feel called to ministry? He said, be a counselor, because that's all I did as a pastor. That's all I ever do is counseling. I'm like, wow. He goes, and you talk about ill-equipped, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and it becomes real evident. I have no idea what I'm doing really quick. Now, this was a sharp guy. This is not, just pathetic person. This was a very sharp person. But anyway, so grasp it, embrace it, accept it, acknowledge it. There has been a lot of wickedness back and forth between pastors and psychology and psychologists and counselors and psychology and theology and Christianity and you name it. It's been a war, awful for a long time. For a long time. Even between Christian counselors, well, you're too psychology and you're not Bible enough, and you're too Bible and you're not psychology enough, and man, go do and be what you are called to do and be, and let everybody else alone. Let them do and be what they're called to do and be as well. Challenge where God says challenge. Lead where God says lead. Be led by the Holy Spirit. Be wise. The church has everything in the world to offer. It has the greatest potential of any entity of any kind on the world to bring this love and this care and this healing to people in communities. If the church was doing its job, we wouldn't have near as much poverty, we wouldn't have near as much of abuse, we wouldn't have near as much sex trafficking, we wouldn't have near as many drugs bought, sold, and used. It's kind of crazy, it's kind of amazing. Alright, let's close in prayer, and this was a long one. Hopefully most of it won't be this long, but just is what it is at this point. Lord, thank you for this class and this time together. Thank you for our students. Pray you bless them, encourage them, strengthen them, pour out your Spirit upon them, give them wisdom, peace, guidance. Help them to do well with this class. Help them to learn lots. Help them to be challenged and help them to dig deep. In Jesus' name we pray. And all God's people said, amen. All right, guys. Enjoyed it. God bless. I'll see you next time.